KIGSKARUPA. Mr. Mayor and members of council, over 30 years ago, my neighbor obtained a development permit to build a double garage in a residential neighborhood. It seems that the city never exercised due diligence because he erected a 15-foot high, 952 square foot cinder block industrial garage. He then proceeded to conduct a mechanics business in the heart of a residential area. Since he used 2 underground sump chambers for the disposal of oil, gas, brake fluid, battery acid, etc., our family has had to live with 2 concerns. Namely, number 1, that this hazardous waste would be a health hazard to our family, and number 2, this building would negatively impact the value of our home. These fears are justified since in the last 2.5 years, we've had 5 cases of cancer, and included in that is 4 deaths. We presently have 1 terminal patient, and my wife Barbara has a brain tumor. And this has all happened within 1 block of the industrial garage. A real estate appraiser and 2 realtors report that the negative impact of this garage has reduced the value of our home from anywhere from $37,000 to $75,000. In the fall of 2015, my neighbor passed away and his estate listed the property for sale and ordered a hydrovac truck to remove the waste from the 2 underground sump chambers. My inquiries as to what fluid was removed resulted in 2 answers. 1, the city said that no fluid was removed, and 2, the hydrovac company gave me a field ticket showing that they removed 1,070 kilograms, or just over 1 ton of hazardous waste, which they took to a hazardous waste company for disposal. Why the city provided inaccurate information is a matter of conjecture. I met with the manager of the hydrovac company, and he gave me a copy of the original field ticket confirming the waste that was taken out of this property. On March 7, 2016, I took my concerns about this issue to council. They held an in-camera meeting and passed a motion dealing with 80 Salisbury Avenue. The motion was carried in favor, 6-4, and 1 against. The sole councillor opposing the motion being Mayor Crouse. Since that motion was passed, absolutely nothing has occurred to address this issue. When I asked the mayor why this whole business was being conducted in camera, he informed me that the reason for the confidentiality was that it related to land and land values. From my research, I discovered that Crouse Development Inc. owns 86 Salisbury Avenue, which is about 150 feet away from the subject property. Now, as a retired banker, I'm quite familiar with the concept of conflict of interest. And since the mayor's email to me shows he was aware that publicity could detrimentally affect the neighboring property values, and since his corporation owns a neighboring property, and since he voted in camera with a motion that deals with 80 Salisbury Avenue, it seems clear that the mayor voted on a matter in which he has a pecuniary interest. Section 172 to 175 of the MGA, which is the Municipal Government Act, states that when a councillor votes on a matter in which he has pecuniary interest, he is immediately disqualified and must resign. If the councillor does not resign, it is the obligation of the rest of the council, and this is in the Act, to bring forth a court action to have him declared disqualified. As recent events have confirmed, the city seems to employ every technique to simply avoid dealing with a problem for which they are responsible. Unfortunately, the mayor's conflict of interest seems to exacerbate the propensity to deal with a problem and put it under the rug. It is time for this council to confront the problem directly and eliminate Mayor Crouse's influence from the decision-making on this matter, take the necessary steps to assess the potential problem of underground hazardous waste in my yard and the residential neighborhood. Agree to a fair and reasonable compensation to my family for allowing an industrial workshop to be constructed immediately adjacent to my residential home. It is time for this administration to stop the stonewalling and produce a fair and equitable solution to a long outstanding problem. Now I have copies for all you councillors, and this also has 7 schedules confirming everything that I've just said. Any questions?
Thank you. Councillor McKay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Belke, could you get those packages for us Mr. Skruba has up there. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Skruba.
You're welcome.
My first question, I guess, would be, how did you find out that Crouse Developments owns a house in the neighborhood?
The mayor told me. About early May 2013, my wife and I had a meeting in the mayor's office with Stu Fraser, who was a supervisor of bylaw. And one of the things we discussed during that meeting was that he owned 86 Salisbury, and it was a revenue property. So that was just, what, about 2.5, I guess, yeah, 3.5 years ago.
So the new neighbor is at 80 Salisbury. Have you got to know them?
Yeah, he's a young chap. He's, I've probably talked to him 6-7 times over the last few months since he took possession in March. And I've had probably 7 or 8 conversations with him. We get along fine. He's done a lot of work cleaning up the property. He's renovated the inside. I don't know how many bins of garbage he's taken away from the property, but we seem to get along fine.
So in this package you gave us, there's a field ticket here. Is
Right.
that what you're referring to earlier?
Yes, yeah.
So can you repeat what you said about the waste material?
Well, they told me that they went out on February 19th. And as a matter of fact, I gave administration, last time I spoke in April, copies of the hydrovac truck. I just happened to be coming back from getting my mail at the community mailbox, and I saw the hydrovac truck back into this garage, and they were there for an hour and a half. And the reason I know that is because I went and sat in the park for an hour and a half, and I was there until they pulled away. And I phoned the hydrovac company, and he invited me out to go talk to him out at their Nisku office. And I probably spent about 15 minutes with him, and he told me that they took out 1,070 kilograms of hazardous waste. And the field ticket is in the name of GFL, which is Green for Life, and they only accept hazardous waste for disposal. Now, administration has been telling me allegedly this and allegedly that they did a phase 1 environmental report, which was an internal phase 1, and you can't do an internal phase 1 report. You have to have an unbiased third party. And they said that everything was okay, and the matter, as far as they were concerned, is concluded. And I do have an email at home from city administration telling me this.
Is that email in the package we received?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But I have another, I don't know how many hundreds of documents at home that I haven't brought today. But it just seems to me that over the last 30 years, everybody's been telling my family that this property is not being operated as a garage. I had verbal confirmation, and then I got this written confirmation from the field ticket, and he told me that they took over a ton of waste out of that property, hazardous waste. And everybody from the city is saying, we did a phase 1, it's not a problem, go away, leave us alone. And I've got proof now, and I want something to be done.
In this package, do you provide any proof of the ownership of 86 Salisbury?
Yeah, there's a copy of the title, land title, plus a corporate search at the back. There's 7 schedules here.
Well, thank you, Mr. Skruba.
We have no more questions. Thank you very much, sir. Ms. Hazel McKenna, please.